Greetings, everyone. Masturbation and sexual intercourse are two different ways in which human beings can experience their sexual lives. This is a rather sensitive topic, but when viewed from the perspective of science, health, and psychology, we can see that it is not something shameful or something that needs to be avoided. Many people, especially young people, often have many misconceptions about masturbation. Some believe that it is wrong, unhealthy, or that it affects one's character or future sex life. Others wonder whether the feeling of orgasm during masturbation is the same as the feeling of orgasm during sexual intercourse. In reality, the answer is not simply the same or different. Orgasm, no matter what the situation is related to the body's physiological response, the nervous system, emotions, and the level of arousal. However, each person's specific experience can be very different depending on the situation, emotions, connection with a partner, level of comfort, understanding of one's body, and many other factors. Physiologically, both masturbation and sexual intercourse can lead to feelings of pleasure and relaxation. When orgasm occurs, the body often releases certain neurotransmitters and hormones associated with pleasant feelings, stress reduction, and emotional bonding. Therefore, many people feel relieved, relaxed, or find it easier to sleep after reaching orgasm. This does not mean that the body is depleted or that health is weakened, as some folk beliefs often claim. If it occurs at an appropriate level, does not cause pain, and does not interfere with work, study, social relationships, or mental health, masturbation is generally considered a normal behavior among adults. However, orgasm during masturbation and orgasm during sexual intercourse are not completely the same. The reason is that the context of these two experiences is different. When a person masturbates, they usually understand their own body better. They know what makes them feel good, what speed, pressure, rhythm, or type of stimulation suits them. Because they are alone, they may also feel less pressure, do not have to worry about pleasing someone else, are not afraid of being judged, and can focus more easily on their own sensations. For this reason, some people feel that orgasm during masturbation is clearer, faster, or easier to achieve. On the other hand, sexual intercourse has an element that masturbation does not have or cannot completely replace: connection with another person. Intimacy, the feeling of being loved, touched, cared for, and emotionally connected can make the sexual experience deeper. For many people, sex is not only a physical sensation, but also emotional closeness. Feelings, trust, harmony, and communication between two people can make the experience special, even if orgasm is not always stronger or easier to achieve than during masturbation. Some people wonder, if masturbation brings a stronger sensation, does that mean sexual intercourse becomes less appealing? This is not necessarily true. These two experiences should not be compared in terms of which one is better or stronger. Masturbation is a personal experience, while sexual intercourse is an interactive experience. The sensations that each form brings may be different, but that does not mean one form reduces the value of the other. A person may feel that masturbation helps them understand their body better, while still having a healthy and happy sex life with their partner. A fairly common misconception is that not masturbating means being pure or innocent. This belief is strongly influenced by culture, family education, religion, or social prejudice. In reality, a person's value should not be judged by whether or not they have ever masturbated. Masturbation does not take away a person's dignity, morality, or ability to love. Purity, if understood in a positive sense, should be associated with self-respect, respect for others, knowing how to set boundaries, taking responsibility for one's choices, and having a healthy attitude toward the body. If a person decides not to masturbate for personal reasons, beliefs, or because they feel that it is right for them, that choice should be respected. But if they give it up only because of guilt, fear, or the belief that doing so will make them more worthy of a future partner, then it may be worth reconsidering. A mature relationship should not be built on shame or obsession about each person's private past. What matters more is honesty, respect, consent, and responsibility in the present. For women, the question of orgasm during masturbation and during sexual intercourse needs to be considered even more carefully. Many studies and clinical observations show that not every woman can easily reach orgasm through sexual intercourse alone. This does not mean that they have a health or psychological problem. The female body has a complex sexual response mechanism in which emotions, a sense of safety, relaxation, communication with a partner, and the right type of stimulation all play important roles. If a woman can easily reach orgasm during masturbation but has difficulty reaching orgasm during intercourse, that does not mean she is abnormal. One common reason is that when masturbating, a woman often knows her sensitive areas and understands how her body responds. Meanwhile, during sexual intercourse, her partner may not yet fully understand what works for her, or the two may not have communicated openly enough. Shyness, pressure to achieve something, worries about appearance, fear of being judged, or a lack of emotional safety can also reduce the ability to enjoy the experience. Therefore, instead of seeing this as something shameful, couples should view it as an opportunity to understand each other better. Gentle, respectful, and pressure-free communication can help improve the quality of their sex life. Some people also worry that masturbation before marriage or during marriage will reduce pleasure during sex with a partner. In reality, masturbation at a reasonable level usually does not harm sexual relationships. On the contrary, it can help a person understand their body better, know what makes them comfortable, and from there communicate better with their partner. Problems only arise when this behavior becomes uncontrollable, is used to completely avoid intimacy, affects daily life, or causes a person to lose interest in a real-life relationship. In that case, what needs attention is not masturbation itself, but the psychological reasons or habits behind it. In terms of mental health, masturbation can sometimes help reduce stress, support sleep, and help a person feel more connected with their body. However, it should not be seen as the only way to deal with stress, loneliness, or sadness. If a person constantly uses this behavior to escape negative emotions, avoid communication, or numb themselves to problems in life, they should look for other healthy forms of self-care, such as exercise, rest, talking to someone they trust, or seeking professional support when needed. The most important elements in any mature sexual experience are consent, safety, respect, and understanding. Masturbation is a personal behavior, while sexual intercourse involves another person. Therefore, sexual intercourse requires clear consent from both sides. It should not involve pressure, coercion, exploitation, or harm, and it should come with awareness of health protection. A healthy sex life is not measured by the number of orgasms, but by feelings of safety, comfort, respect, and freedom from pressure. It is also important to say that not reaching orgasm during some sexual encounters is not a failure. Many couples focus too much on the final result and forget that closeness, hugging, talking, caring, and emotional sharing are also important parts of intimacy. When orgasm becomes a mandatory goal, both people may become more stressed, which can reduce the naturalness of the experience. On the contrary, when two people feel comfortable, listen to each other, and do not put pressure on one another, the quality of the relationship and overall satisfaction often improve. In summary, orgasm during masturbation and orgasm during sexual intercourse have similarities in terms of physiology, but they differ in context, emotion, and the way the body is stimulated. It is impossible to say which one is better for everyone. Some people find it easier to reach orgasm through masturbation, while others feel that sexual intercourse brings deeper emotional experiences. Both can be a normal part of adult life as long as they remain within healthy limits, do not cause harm, and do not hurt others. Instead of looking at masturbation with shame or judgment, we should approach this topic with scientific knowledge, a calm attitude, and respect for the body. Understanding oneself correctly does not make a person less pure. Rather, it helps them become more mature in the way they love, care for themselves, and build healthy relationships with others. Thank you for watching. I am Dr. Mia, and I would like to end today's sharing here. Goodbye, and see you again.